Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel! If you're new here, my name is Medita, and today I am finally filming my September wrap-up. Stop, I know I'm like 10 days late to filming this and publishing this. I was doing things I need to do, aka catching up on sleep, but better late than never, am I right? So yeah, I don't have anything else to say, so here are my very brutally honest reviews of these books. First is the Crier's War duet, and let me just tell you, if you love enemies to lovers with a little revenge plot, you need to read this. Crier's War for me is a 4.5-star read, which is rare, okay? Like, this is a rarity, aka unique, #different, and I loved it. I really like the story in Crier's War. Overall, the war between humans and robots, aka Autome, was really detailed. The backstory was quite interesting, and throughout the entire book, you found out more and more about why Autome even were created in the first place and where they came from, which is, by the way, really interesting because we get info about the Autome in like these little flashbacky scenes, but like from bookish. From books, I mean. I don't know why I just said bookish. Anyways, and they look like this. It's super cool, right? It's like at the beginning of almost every chapter, and it's kind of mysterious. It's pretty cool, and then you get like the year it was written in, and I was like, oh, they've been here for so long. Very interesting. And then the two main characters, chef's kiss. So good. We have Crier, first of all, who is an Autome, aka she's different. She's not like other girls. Over the course of this book, we see her really develop as a character and change her opinions. She starts to realize that some people she trusted were actually not good, and some people she didn't trust are actually the good people. And then we have Isla, who is my favorite character. She wants to avenge her family that was killed by Autome, and for that she wants to Crier. And since we have this big contrast between Isla and Crier, especially their mission in life, the clash is so amazing, and I loved how both characters got to know each other. And usually I get confused during the world building. I'm like, oh, what the heck is happening? I don't understand anything. Not here. And then the ending? I had to read the second book right away. Sadly, Ironheart is for me only a 3.5, which is still okay to very good. I think I wasn't supposed to read this right after finishing Crier's War. I think I was supposed to digest the book first because I kept getting these flashbacks to the first book in the beginning. You know how like at the beginning of every Pretty Little Liars episode there goes the previously on Pretty Little Liars? That happened in this book quite a lot for previously in Crier's War. And it was, I would say, confusing and annoying to me because I already had all this information, and now they were just like pushing the information again into my brain. I was like, I already know this. Why are you doing this? On the other hand though, Crier and Isla, they have even more personal growth in this book. I love the new characters we got introduced to because of Crier. And then Isla gives us a lot more detail in her perspective on the other characters that we were already introduced to in Crier's War. And it reveals a lot more secrets that were really mysterious in the first book. And it was so good. I loved it. I don't think I could have done that at their age. Honestly, I would have cried. So good job, Crier and Isla. Crier, me who cries. That was the worst joke ever. It sounded like a dad joke. I'm so sorry, I apologize. But I was a bit disappointed with the reveal of the giant plot twist, like the giant secret reveal about the Autome, because I thought we already knew that. So I was like, wait, what? Huh? But still, overall 4 stars for the entire duet, so definitely read it. Then I read Make a Scene, and this is a 4-star read. Absolutely loved it. I love these characters in this book. Basically, in this book, we have Retta. She has a bakery, and she bakes all this really nice stuff, but at the same time, she has a lot of drama in her life. Her ex-boyfriend is engaged to her cousin, and now she has to attend her cousin's wedding, where she will see her ex-boyfriend marry somebody else in her family. I would never be able to attend. But she comes up with a plan, and that involves Mr. Duncan. And who is Mr. Duncan? He owns the boxing gym next to her bakery. So they decide to make a little deal for parking spots and for a fake date for the wedding. And from that, the story goes on and on and on. I absolutely loved how their chemistry developed in this book. First of all, their first date was so unique. I've never read anything like this before. Then also, we see a lot of character development, especially because of the involvement of the families, which is really interesting. Duncan's backstory is great, and then also, obviously, Retta's, as we already know, with her ex-boyfriend and her cousin. So that was great. Really good book. And we get introduced to other characters who are important then for the second book, which I also read. Then, as I said, I read What a Match, which is the sequel. That book was, for me, okay. I gave it a 3 to 3.5 stars. That mostly has to do with the fact that it's as short as Make a Scene, but the plot is way, way more packed. We have so many different plot lines in that book that it's just a bit too fast-paced for me. So the second book is about Anthony, who owns the gym with Mr. Duncan in the first book, and Gwen, who is Anthony's sister. But then we have so many other plot lines. We have the plot line that they have to live together because Anthony's apartment is broken, like me. And we have the plot line that Gwen is finding love, which, by the way, that's my favorite plot line because Gwen wanting to find love relates a lot to her and Duncan's family backstory. We have a lot already going on, right? But then we get introduced to a fourth plot, and that was a bit too much for me. I love the beginning, right? Loved Gwen, her job and everything. She was super interesting to read about. Anthony, on the other hand, yeah. We get like 5 sentences on his past. I'm like, wait, what? That's it? I need a bit more. Still an okay book. Still was really easy to read and really quick. Then we have the 5 books I read in my reading marathon. Yeah, I read 5 books. I have fully detailed reviews in my 24-hour readathon video. Hashtag self-promo, hashtag watch that video, please. So yeah, here's my star rating for these books though, really quickly. The Inheritance Games, 5 out of 5. Absolutely love this. I want to reread this right away. Love Riddles, love Avery, love Jameson. The Hawthorne Legacy, 4 stars. The Final Gambit, 2 to 3 stars. This book was okay. Not my favorite. Last Night. I didn't like this book at all because I thought this was a brother's best friend story, and it's not. Blackout, 4 to 4.5 stars. Short stories about a night in New York City where there's a blackout. Ashley Woodfolk has a short story in here. Ashley Woodfolk is one of my favorite authors. She wrote When You Were Everything, aka my new favorite book. Next, I read Before You by Marnie Munn, and I don't have that book anymore. Why? Because I unhauled it. That already tells you how much I love that book. AKA I hate that book with my entire life. Billy is a girl who is sitting on an airplane. She's 30. Next to her sits this guy named Jared, who is 47. They fall in love after the plane crashes because hashtag connection because plane crash, okay? Then we find out that Jared killed Billy's family when he was 17 because he fell asleep while driving a car and ran over her mother and her baby brother. She was the only one to survive that crash because her mom pushed her out of the way with a stroller. When she finds that out, she's angry for like 2 weeks and then she forgives him and they live happily ever after. I'm sorry, no, why did I read that? Nothing makes sense in my life. I hate reading. I want to give up reading. And on top of that, Jared knew who Billy, the love interest, was when he sat down next to her on the plane because he booked his plane ticket to sit down next to the girl whose family he killed. Jared, I hate you. I absolutely hate you. I despise you. This is you and this is me. Between us is a giant, just like drop, and you will never be able to cross it. My friends are here and the people I hate are here. And you're one of those. We hate you, and we hate Before You by Marnie Munn. Next, I read Along for the Ride, also by Mimi Grace. I was super excited to read this, okay? We have a grumpy sunshine story between 2 people who don't really like each other, but they're stuck in a car together for multiple hours because his best friend is marrying her sister. Great start of the plot. First proximity, they have to go through different challenges and have to hash out their feelings with each other, have to work together, hashtag dream team, hashtag teamwork, hashtag dreamwork, hashtag we're all in this together. High School Musical. And that meant I loved the first part of the book. The first 50% were amazing. Jolene is freaking hilarious. So this entire book, she made multiple jokes that I was like, laughing out loud, LOL. But then we enter the second part of the book, which is basically after the car ride, which was kind of disappointing because I thought this entire book was going to be this car ride, and then over the entire book, they would start falling in love, love, love. Even though I love that we focused on their individual lives a bit more, and we saw Jolene working and we saw Jason working, and I thought they were both girl bossing and making money. I kind of thought that the entire development they had with each other was just like poof gone. That's why this book is only 3 stars for me, because the first 50% I was in love, and then the second half just wasn't for me. Next, I read the ebook version of Getaway Girl by Tessa Bailey, and the book was also only okay. So we have Addie, this kind of outcast, and she was really interesting. She was funny, she had a cool job. I loved why she came back to the little town. It was amazing. Loved her backstory, loved her family. And then we have Elijah. Elijah and Addie meet because Elijah gets jilted at the altar by Addie's cousin. Gasp, drama. So she's like, I'm your getaway girl, get in my car, let's go flee the scene. So we have forced proximity, them together, getting to know each other, and we love it, okay? For 60% of this book, Elijah was amazing. And then he goes to say something so stupid that makes me hate the character. I felt so sorry for Addie because I was like, oh my god, if somebody had said that to me, I would have literally disappeared into thin air. I don't even know. I would have never come back to this town. And then she does something that is so confusing and off character for her too that I was like, what the heck is happening? And then he goes, oh my god, no, I didn't mean what I said. Addie, come back. He doesn't fight enough for her forgiveness. And I'm just like, Elijah, maybe work on an apology for a second? And since I still like the overall plot, it's still an okay book, but yeah. Elijah, no. Addie, yes. Next, I read the German version of Eleanor and Gray, which is called Wie die Ruhe vor dem Sturm. This is a 0 out of 5 stars. I absolutely hated this book. First, we meet Eleanor, okay? And she is the definition of YN, not like other girls, quirky, different. When she was a teenager, Eleanor kept calling other human beings muggles. Let that sink in for a second. I felt a little out. I was about to DNF this book, but then I thought, no, Madita, you can do this. And I wish I didn't, because it gets even worse. And then we get Gray, the love interest. As a teen, whatever, he's fine. He confessed his love a bit early, in my opinion. But then we get to the scenes when they're adults, and I actually wanted to fight. Gray has 2 little daughters, and Gray's wife died 10 months ago in a car crash where all 4 of them were involved. And then Eleanor becomes a nanny for Gray, and she's like, oh my god, Gray, my first love. Gray is the worst dad on this planet, okay? 1, Gray is really misogynistic and thinks that Eleanor is only there to sleep with him. First of all, shut the fuck up. She's doing her job. She's a nanny. His daughter, who was hurt really badly in the accident, has a lot of scars on her face now, gets bullied at school and doesn't want to attend school. And then the dad just like screams at her that she doesn't want to attend school and that she's a bad daughter. And I'm just like, he then starts having a relationship with Eleanor when he's clearly still in love with his dead wife, and they both just fully ignore the children. You have 2 kids who saw their mom die, and you say, I want to fuck my nanny now. Gray's on the side of the hill where the dude from before you is. I hope I can burn this from my memories and just like erase every thought of it. Then I read Fool Me Twice, and this was also a horrible book. Why, you may ask? Because this woman shames other women. Be ready and buckle in, friends. During this scene, Henley, the main girl, is watching these football players talk with girls who are wearing bikinis, okay? Because it's summer, whatever. And then she says this about the girls. This girl all but invited him to suck on her tits in the middle of the quad. I don't think she did. You are just being awful to other women for wearing bikinis. And then she goes to say this, and I'm just like, oh my god, you're not that different. I haven't encountered many girls like myself over the years. I'm no nonsense bullshit proof and rarely take a liking to someone at first impressions. Okay, so you don't fall for a guy really quickly? Does that make you that different? Sit back down, honestly. And then we get to the entire plotline, which is basically Henley trying to get revenge on this guy called Lincoln, which is the love interest, because he broke her best friend's heart while she had cancer. And then we get to the epilogue, and I actually had to laugh out loud because it was hilarious to me that during that draft picking, I don't know how that works, he calls Henley on stage and proposes. I hate public proposals so much. They're awful things to exist. Then I read Counting Down with You, and I gave this book 2 stars. I'm not Muslim, but I still notice things that make me uncomfortable with how religion is being represented in this book overall. And that's, for example, one of her friends who is not a Muslim saying to her that she only wants her friend to be happy, but that was in correlation to her friend doing something that is forbidden for her.
I really suck at explaining, so here's a quick summary again. The book correlated happiness to religion, and everything was bad apparently when you follow your religion, and you can only be happy when you break your religion. And I don't know, that made me a bit uncomfortable, so yeah.
Then, last but not least, I read my entire backlist of Emma Scott, so let me go through all these books really quickly. First, I read The Light in Us, which is also called Russian English. I didn't like this book that much. In this book, we have Noah, who had a tragic accident and is now blind. And then we have Charlotte, who's a violinist, but she kind of has lost her way with music because of something that happened in her life, and she lost a lot of things. It gets really confusing because she starts working for him, but then she never really learns how to help blind people in their daily life. I don't really get why she was hired in the first place, because she was not qualified, and you could tell throughout the book that she did things that made no sense. And then after I read the Lost Boys trilogy, first and foremost, Emma Scott. I thought you weren't a person who wrote smut between 16-year-olds. Unnecessary. You could have avoided that. I already don't like these books, and all of these books already have less than 2-star ratings because of that. I'm especially mad because The Girl in the Love Song was actually a pretty good plotline. We had this friends to lover romance stories, and I was really excited to read about this because they were childhood friends, and she always wanted to take care of him, and he was really there for her. But then this annoys me in every single friends lovers book. They're in the same friend group, and every friend tells you that the other person likes you, but you're just like, no, he doesn't. Why would you think that? I'm just like, I don't know, because he fucking told me. And on top of that, Violet, you're a bad friend. You have this amazing best friend, and then you kind of like ditch her for the popular crowd. And Miller, I don't know how I feel about you either. You're both so fickle and can't make any decisions for yourself. I'm the second book is called When You Come Back to Me. Dramatic name with an ugly cover. This book's about Holden and River. Holden is Miller's best friend, but here's the thing with this plot. Again, minor scenes.
Don't like that.
On top of that, we have a lot of repetition in this book. Plots of this book were already in this book, and we just get it in a different perspective, and I hate that stuff because it's just a space filler. And then on top of that, I don't think that River treated Holden in any good way. Holden went through a lot of traumatic things when he was a teenager, and Holden tells that stuff to River. River decided to do those things that already traumatized Holden in the past. And I know in the end they both heal and apologize, but still. And the third book is called The Last Piece of Her. But again, we have this giant issue in this book that could have been avoided, and that's
dun 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 dun!
Space fillers by repeating scenes.
For the third time!
I already read about this
twice!
That all made me so annoyed that I couldn't enjoy the rest of the plot. Ronan, the guy, went through so much in his life, so much pain. Shiloh, oh my god, her family history is horrifying. I was so sorry for her, her mother, her grandparents, everybody in her family. The amount of things they both went through, it was too much for me. Then I read The Butterfly Project and Forever Right Now. The Butterfly Project for me is a 2.5 to 3 stars because there was no plot. Zelda has this really traumatic past because when she was 14, she witnessed something really horrible and that changed the course of her entire life. That's why she started drawing comic books and she wants to now make it in New York City as a comic artist. I think that's how you call it. And then we meet Beckett. Beckett was in prison for 2 years because of an armed robbery and ever since has a lot of regrets in his life, but he's also scared to open up to other people. From the moment they both meet to the plot twist in the end, nothing happens. We just get a lot of scenes where they fall in love, but I didn't really feel any chemistry between them, so I was a bit confused. And that's also super short for the amount of trauma that's packed into here. Give me a bit more of the trauma, but like in healing. Then, however, I read Forever Right Now, and this is a 3.75 to 4 stars. This is a single parent trope, aka single father trope. Superior, so good. I will bow to that plot. Sawyer is trying to be the best dad ever while still becoming a lawyer. So Sawyer is doing pretty well. He's just really stressed out, and that's when he meets Darlene. She has a darker past, and she is really scared to open up to Sawyer about it, especially because Sawyer is a lawyer. But Darlene helps Sawyer out quite a lot, and you can tell right from the beginning they have great chemistry. I loved how both characters helped each other. And then some things happen in Sawyer's life, and that's when Sawyer messes up, in my opinion. Okay, Sawyer says some things where I'm just like, Darlene goes through a type of redemption arc in this book, but then how Sawyer reacted is a reason why a lot of people don't open up about their past. Then on the other hand, she didn't tell him about anything that happened in her past, and I kind of understood why he was so shocked, especially because of where he found out about everything. Then I read Unbreakable, and I really did not like this book. This is a 2-star read for me. So this book is about Alex and Corey. Alex is engaged to this really rich businessman from Beverly Hills, and she's also a very successful lawyer. And then we meet Corey, who is a single dad. Both of them are caught up in a bank robbery and are both held hostage. But post bank robbery, both think they can go their separate ways again, but they don't. I don't like cheating. So yeah, this book just made me overall mad. I wanted to
punch and throw this book across the room.
And then last but not least, I read How to Save a Life and Sugar and Gold by Emma Scott, and they're both in the same universe, and I didn't like either of them. First, How to Save a Life to me is a 1-star read. One, because we have, again, explicit scenes between
minors.
And even though I kind of liked how the plot started, I think that it was twisted in a way that I didn't like. Some of the things that happen don't make any sense. That was also the issues I had with this book, because in Sugar and Gold, we have a pretty similar plot. And then I see where the correlation is between this and this book because of Nikolai and Evan, obviously. But still, I wish the magic wasn't in there. It's not really my favorite plot line, and since that is a big plot line in this entire book, a lot of the scenes that happen revolve around the magic thing, so yeah, didn't really like that much, so that's the end. Yeah, those were all the books I read in September. I hope you enjoyed my very belated September reading wrap up, and if you did, you can give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of my content, you can subscribe. Yeah, I hope you all have a great day, evening, nighttime, morning, whatever time zone you're in. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Go read a book, and you know what? Either read Crier's War or Make a Scene. Again, have a great day, happy reading, and see you next time. Bye!